St. John's the Evangelist School is preparing its students for the 21st century. The school took part in an initiative called An Hour of Code. Put on by Code.org, the initiative works to introduce and demystify computer programming for elementary schools. To find out more about the school's involvement, we spoke with St. John's technology teacher Brie Gaffney.
Here I know the kids in science class as well as in computer class were taking part in Hour of Code, which is kind of a countrywide initiative that started last year to try to get kids and students into computer programming. There's a need for computer programmers in the workforce, and so getting kids involved at an early age is kind of that was the point of the initiative when it was started last year. There's a really awesome website called code.org that has all sorts of resources that help kids to learn the elementary skills of computer programming. So in computer class and in science class, I don't know if they accessed the website in science class, but in computer class they did, and they were able to complete some simple tasks and games that had to do with computer programming. As a technology educator myself, and as also a lifelong learner, I think that coding is important for kids to learn, not only for to develop more people in the workforce later on once they're at that point in their life, but also to learn the way that the things that they're using on computers and tablets nowadays are built. Kids are able to create their own apps and kind of see the actual working of how things that they're using in their education are made. So we did a couple of things that kids are familiar with in terms of gaming, like Angry Birds. There's also a game that has to do with the Disney movie Frozen, where the kids can actually use pieces of code. It's called Blockly, so they drag blocks over, but they can in fact also see the actual HTML code as well. They're able to drag the blocks over and make the character move. It goes by level, so as they go through the game, it gets increasingly more difficult, and they're able to actually build the game themselves eventually.
When I first heard about this, I actually have a son who has a Bachelor of Science degree in game design and simulation programming. So I said, wow, that's really cool. You know, I know firsthand how this works. My dad is a computer programmer, and I thought, what a great way to introduce the kids. And the kids all love to play video games. They come in, they talk about their video games, so I wanted to show them how the games are built and how they can actually build a game. And we paired them up. It was 2 children to an computer, and we set them up, and all we had to do was get them started. We put the game up on the smart board so they could see what it should look like every time a screen came up, so they could kind of coordinate with us, with me. And once they got started, some of the kids just took off and went right through some of the levels. They thought it was really great, and once we actually worked for about an hour and 20 minutes. We went past the hour, and we kept going right till the end of the day. And then I gave them the website, and a lot of the kids went home, and I got feedback of what they had done at home, and the parents had actually sent me emails saying that they were doing it on the weekend, they were doing it on nights. It's still up, and they can still do it. And there are so many levels for them to go through in different games that they're continuing to do it. So we've sparked their interest, and now they're able to continue with that. My children are in college, and I know that even any girls who want to go into engineering, there's far more money to be given to girls who want to go into engineering because they're trying to enhance females. But I think the girls are becoming more interested, and a lot of them are becoming more interested because of the video games and because of the technology. They are as interested. Brie was talking about the different games. We had a Frozen game and an Angry Bird. We had a girl and we had a boy version. And my kids played both. I had both, the boys played the girls and the girls played the boys. I want to break that gender barrier. There shouldn't be that barrier. The girls should be able to do anything they want to do. And I see the girls are far more interested now than they used to be in the science and technology and the math.
In science class, it's very important to teach them how to think critically and how to make proper steps and logical steps when you're trying to make a test. So that's what coding teaches them, from my perspective, from science. A computer will never make a mistake. It only does what the person tells it to do. So you have to tell it very simple commands and how to make a decision once you come to a certain point. So that's what I wanted to show them this year. I know that they already did Hour of Code in their computer class, so what I wanted to do was to use some of the apps that were downloadable onto their iPads, since we have those available, and to get into some specifics about programming, some procedures. If you're going to do something over and over and over again, you don't just make a huge program. You break off and do the repeatable procedure. You could hear a pin drop. I started them off with this app called the Lightbot, where they would move a little robot through a maze. And as soon as you start them off, you don't even have to explain how it goes, and they're used to this because they've spent so much time. So it's something that they easily assimilate, and they've learned something too. You know, when you're going through, and one kid has a program that's a mile long, another kid has a very elegant program that's just a few lines, because they're using the procedures, they're using the loops correctly. So they're also learning from each other that way. So it was nice to see them, you know, side by side, comparing how they each wrote the same program that accomplished the same task, but very differently.
In terms of code, I think that a lot of them are interested in that because they're all using tablets and laptops at home, so they're interested in learning how these games and programs are made. Not only does that help them in their education, but also I think in terms of this initiative, it's trying to get more kids into the field of computer programming. We also do lots of other programs that help them to get them ready for writing essays and creating projects and becoming successful for later on.